like to introduce you people to one of our best projects, I would say. So this is what we call as artificial intelligence and architectural hacking. So this project is one of the most important projects in our league, I would say. So we named this project as Project Visage. So starting with that, once upon a time, we went to a museum, a contemporary art museum in Karlsruhe, and which talked about the privacy of human beings and how it is being influenced by various factors of government and other private players. So that kind of intrigued me, like really, really hard, like how we can bring in architecture and collage and make a coexistence of two of them together to tackle or create a movement against artificial intelligence and machine learning. So this is the very definition of the project. So Project Visage is the transmutation of algorithmic line of duality between the human face and a building facade. So a building face and a facade are completely going to be the same thing when you compare them together. So we value a person based upon their face, and we categorize a building based upon its beauty, based upon the beauty of its facade. So a human face and a building facade are always going hand in hand through every single evolution of mankind. And that is what Wolflin also tells in his quote, which is all about how emotions of architecture and human faces can be correlated together to form a new form of architectural design. So with that being said, let's get into the presentation of the core of the presentation, I would say. So what exactly is privacy? So that night from the museum, when I came back home, I was like, okay, what exactly is privacy? Because we need to know what privacy is and what are the concerns that classify it and modify it, and even support the claims of privacy. So in order to know that, you need to start from the very scratch of the very basic definition of it. So I typed, as every single person, I just went on to Google and typed like, what is privacy? And Google sent me this answer. So the state of being free from public attention. So when you are being all alone from your own self or from the environment, and if you are, when you are not being judged by any person, that state is what you call as privacy. You can do anything and everything that you want with 100% freedom without the fact that other people are going to judge you. So with that definition, I was thinking into the more improved genres of what exactly is happening and how do we give up on our privacy. So when we are newly born, we don't have any kind of privacy concerns. But in the very early ages of 11 or 12, when you get up, you start thinking about creating a Google account for yourself. So what happens is you go to Google Gmail and start to create an account for yourself. So you give up on your, just a minute. Let me take a laser pointer in here. So the Google asks you, what is your first name? And then your last name. So last name is nothing but your father's name or your family's name. And then it asks for your username. So what happens is you give your data, like the raw data of yourself, to Google. So take my first name, Google, take my second name, and then my family name, and every single data we are giving it to it. So most of these times, a lot of people who use passwords use the same password for Google, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, anything. They use the same password. So the artificial intelligence gets the information of your username, your password, as well as your birthday event. So you, for no reason, you give up your birthday. So for example, let's consider to be the 7th of May, today being a birthday. So you give up the detail of your birthday, and then you also tell the fact that you are whether you are a male or female. And then the worst thing is you even give your mobile phone just because of the clarification details or verification details. So you give every single detail of yours to somebody whom you don't even know. For example, let's consider this person to be Sundar Pichai. So in the very, very early ages of your being, you give this data to Mr. Sundar Pichai, and then when you cross your adolescent age of being a teenager, you go to Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. And then you take like, I've given Sundar Pichai some of my data. Take my data as well. So you give this to Zuckerberg as well. You give your first name in details, your surname in details, your mobile number, your password, your date of birth, your gender, every single data, you put it on the internet. You give every single data of yours, and it's like you selling your own data for free. And then you give the same data to the government in the form of Aadhaar card, driving license, PAN card. Every single data of yours is being given to these people as well. And as technology advanced, you had some amazing technologies like the Siri coming in. So what you do, or Siri or Alexa, so for Android users. So Siri or Alexa, you just take in Siri and Alexa, and you'll be like, hey Siri, can you keep an alarm at 6:30 today? So what happens is, oh my God, my Siri is actually, it listened and it opened right now. Sorry. So as soon as you keep an alarm, the artificial intelligence is able to understand your sleep patterns, your timetable, your every single data. So you have given up on personal details, and then you have given up on your personal details, and then you have living details. So living pattern you've given up on it. So when you go out of your house to a new place, and then when you open Google Maps, the first detail that it asks is, do you want to go back home? So how does a machine know where your home is? How can it even give you a suggestion that whether you want to go back home? This happens to every single person. So right now it knows every single data of mine, and then it knows even the address of my house. So we think that we live in a completely private world where we have given up every single data of us. So every single data of us is taken away. So with that homework being made in the very beginning, we thought of, okay, how is AI being developed? So what is the process, or the stages by which AI is being taken? I think a lot of people in here are the alumni. So in the very first instance, you would have logged into Facebook in order to communicate with people in the beginning, and then you would have got a lot of people, DSLR friends, and they would be like, Machan, just can you take a DSLR pic of mine, and then I want to post it as on my Facebook DP. So what happens at this point of time is, I insert my image to Facebook. So students might not have known it, I suppose, because this is a little bit old in respect to Facebook. So they put their image on, and then they tag themselves. Okay, you click a box and say, this is Mark Zuckerberg. So it accepts the data. Okay, this face belongs to Mark Zuckerberg. And after 1 year span, this idea comes in. You just upload an image, and all of a sudden AI asks you, well, do you want to tag Clark Kent or Mark Zuckerberg? Because you have given 10 to 15 photographs of that person, that artificial intelligence now recognizes that person as that familiar person. Because if you go and tell your baby that Appa Sollu, Appa Sollu, Appa Sollu, when you keep on saying it, at one point of time, the baby will automatically start saying and understanding that you are its father. So you are right now breeding a new breed of organisms, or organizational organisms, I would say. So, and then what happened was, I uploaded my own Facebook DP, and then it was like, this is not my photo. So it asked me this question: do you want to tag yourself? So how did Facebook start recognizing me as a person in a just normal image? So we are giving in a lot of data which is being read and understood by the AI, and then they are processing that to show you something else, which you take it in the most positive aspect. But there is a flip side where there are a lot of negatives with it. And then the worst thing with regards to the millennials or the 2K kids at this time is, wherever you go, you want to show off, and then you put in your check-in statuses. So even when you eat idli or dosa, it's like, Munyandi dosa kada, you tag in that as well, wherever you go, whichever post you have. So this data is being given up to every single person with regards to artificial intelligence. So this brings us to this question of, are we humans even safe? Well, the simple answer to this question is no, we are just really stupid. We give up on every single data of us. So the next revolution that happened with regards to artificial intelligence was this 10-year photo challenge. So a lot of people, if you are students right now watching this, a lot of people wanted to show off, like what kind of a dumbass you were like 10 years back, and what kind of a stud you have become after 10 years. Everybody wanted to show how much they have transformed into a male persona of themselves, or what kind of a good or smart looking hunk they are. So this data was also being taken into consideration, and this data was being absorbed. So 10 years, this is how a human face can evolve, right? The machine understands that in 10 years time, this is how a face can evolve from this to this, and it compares it with your Facebook data. Okay, and then it starts to understand various data. So there were a lot of millions of images with regards to 10-year photo challenges, and the machine got the raw data that it required. And then so somewhere in between, when smartphones started to become more and more handy, we had this amazing feature coming in. So we had these faces with square boxes. Whenever you show your mobile phone in front of a person, it shows a box, and we will be like, oh machan, the technology engyo poiduchra, face ella, it's showing it in the form of boxes, it is able to recognize. But what people don't understand is, they are making this happen. They are giving their own raw data. So like I said before, or if you keep on saying appa sol, it starts to recognize. So AI at this point of time recognizes the fact that this is a face. So it is tagged by the word face by artificial intelligence. And then after two or more years of developments, it is able to tell about your age as well. So it is able to predict, okay, when you put a group photo, it is able to predict that this person is 73 years old based upon the 10-year challenge that you put forth. And then it was able to segregate between the genders, basic genders of being a female and being a male. So right now it is able to identify my face. It is able to identify my age. It is able to identify my gender. So what are we doing at this point of time? And based upon my Facebook data, it was able to even identify, it was able to search. In a lot of Tamil movies you would have seen, right? Fingerprints match avadhan paakarapo, there'll be a fast media going on side by side with which will try to match the fingerprints. So it runs a data of every single face that is available on Facebook, and then it identifies, okay, the one in the left is Mike and the one in the right is Michael. So it is starting, we are generating or creating a new organism which we must be really afraid of. And then a new bunch of evolution or introduction to innovations came in, and it was able to figure out, okay, this guy is 21 years old, he's a male, and based upon his facial reactions, it was able to say the mood of a person. Can you see the image over here? So he's being neutral at this point of time, and when he opens his mouth, it is able to understand that it is happy. And based upon the Facebook search, it is able to tell that his name is Vincent. And then we had one more amazing app which came in. So this was the 10-year challenge once again. The amount of 10-year challenge that you gave in. So if a person is 20 years old, he would have given a data of 20 to 30. If a person is 60 years old, he would have given a data of 60 to 70. So based upon the millions of data that was being given, this age prediction came in. And then you gave in more data. It's like, when it is being in the beta mode or the alpha mode while being tested, you give even more images to it and saying that you posted a lot of images of your friends and you were like, after 60 years, I look like this. After you wanted to embarrass your friends, but you're indirectly, unknowingly giving the data for it to grow. But what exactly would you think is the medium through which machine can see through? Machines have eyes as well, like how we do, but their eyes are infinite. The eyes of the machines is the camera. So a lot of people must have seen in Chennai right now, you must have had a lot of road cameras. You must have, I didn't know, notified that. So a lot of cameras and a lot of houses. So they are being connected to the internet, which is the juggernaut of machine vision. Or what is happening in these movies, it will be seeing through the cameras that are in the public sector in this way. So it will be identifying everybody's single face. It will run an algorithm to, their Facebook match. It will find out their Facebook match, and then it will be able to find their criminal records. And based upon their criminal records, it will say this person is in the blacklist. And then if they are a very good, publicly well-known person, it will understand that to be a VIP. So that is what you see in the green boxes and the red boxes. And so in a lot of movies we would have seen, right? Jail people who reside at the jail have numbers being given to them. And even in Facebook, when you go to your profiles, you see the fact that your profile will be like facebook.com/ your name / you'll be given a number 11743176 or something of that sort. So artificial intelligence reads us as a person in the form of interpreted numbers. So these numbers are the numbers with which AI will read us. For example, so consider that person with 11863. This is how it will read us, and this is how it will sync all our data together. And then this brings us to the question: are we being watched? Is the future already here? Are we being watched? So the answer to the simple question is a simple, big, fat yes. So to understand what I'm trying to say or trying to do, let's watch. Maybe the video is not buffering as of now. Maybe I'll post the links in the comment section after the lecture so that you could watch that video. So this brings to another question. Are we being bred by artificial intelligence? Are we the sex organs of artificial intelligence? So how do I connect these to create architecture? So you would have thought, right? Architectural lecture architecture. So this brings us to this question. So how do I create this? How do I save humans from a cyborg rising through architecture? That is a very, very big question to be answered. So the first question that you will be thinking is, seriously, you mad, bro? But I have found a solution to crack this. And I would like to welcome you to the new world of architecture, which is about machine learning. So this is my world of architecture. And with these research of what exactly is being done, I started to look into the ways in which machine is able to monitor us. So the first thing that came to my mind was this news article. It's like, a God's blessing at this point of time. So I was searching for this project, and all of a sudden, this project came into my searches, and it was like, a lot of people must have been through Google Street View. So a street view is one in which you'll be able to closely watch a street. So that is one of the mediums by which artificial intelligence is able to access the towns and cities. And the human faces in that Google Maps will be blurred out because of privacy concerns. So artificial, you cannot see what you are not being taught to see. So artificial intelligence cannot see a human face in Google Maps. It can recognize a human, but it cannot see a human face. So it is not being taught that ideology of understanding a human face or seeing a human face. So that is the evidence that I required to start my architecture with. And then this was a substantial proof which came in additionally. So this entire house was blurred out because of the fact that it looked like a face. So Google wasn't able to see this face at all because of the cross algorithm which was deployed. And then face, building. These are the two words that came into my mind. So I took a search on what are all the buildings that started to look like a face, So these are some crazy examples. So one which looks like, the band American Idiots or Green Days, and a smiley like a face facade, and then a grotesque face, and a Pokemon like kind of a facade, and an Angry Bird kind of a facade. So I started to read upon various factors that influence a face and a facade. So this is where the first definition comes in: face and a human face and a building facade. So we need to mix these two together. And then we have to know how a machine understands an image and how a human sees an image. So everybody in here must have used Photoshop. So the basic unit of design is going to be a pixel. So every single pixel is how machine uses to understand an image. So the one on the left is how we see an image. But artificial intelligence, it categorizes every single pixel, it grayscales an image, and then from a value of 0 to 256, it gives every single pixel a value based upon the darkness or the amount of grays. And then based upon the values that are being given, it understands an image. Cool. So this one, right? Your mobile phone, it is able to recognize your face, and you need some kind of a law or a rule which you must give the mobile phone for this to happen. And this is called the Viola-Jones algorithm, Viola-Jones. And this is a code. So for example, it is based upon facial features. For example, if your brightnesses and darknesses, so if you change an image into grayscale, it's categorized into bright faces and dark faces, right? So these are the 5 modifiers that has to run. Modifiers is nothing but, does he have long hair? If he doesn't have a long hair, he is a male. Chuma, or for example, I'm saying. So if some kind of codes, if 1 is greater than 2, then 2 is an even number, some BS. So it's like I've messed it up. I know I messed it up right now, but some kind of a code like that. So for example, if you take a nose, the tip of the nose is always going to be bright, and the adjacent facial features is always going to be dark. So if those are the characteristics, then it will consider that it is to be a face. So these are 300,000 times this has to run within a span of this very second, so that it gets recognized as a face. So every single time it runs, wait a minute. So every single time it runs, it forms a green box, which means that it is giving the fact that it is positive, it is positive, it is positive. So after 300,000 runs, it gives you the fact that yes, it is a face. And in order to know how this runs, just I'll give you this. So this is how the machine reads. This happens, this entire 300,000 times of calculating your facial features happens within a span of a single second. As soon as you take a mobile phone and show a human face, this is how this happens. So then what I did was, I wanted to fake or make the machine believe that a face, a small normal image is going to be a face. So what I do is I take a human face and keep the pixel values based upon the shades, the grayscales of high tones and dark tones. So I had to overcome this algorithm for 300,000 times. So I had this took a tedious process for us. It took me somewhere around 2 months to complete this. So complete this image. So if you, I would highly recommend, if somebody is watching this, if you have a mobile phone or borrow a mobile phone from your people next to you right now, it would be really, really essential for the presentation, because you would be able to accept the fact that what I am telling is truth. You can take your mobile phones and show it on the screen. Your mobile phone will show a yellow box, a yellow square box. So you will be able to accept the fact that I am telling the truth and I have proved something. So I'll give you maybe some 10 seconds time. If people are have a mobile phone or can grab a mobile phone nearby you, maybe you can or watching it in your laptop, you can take your mobile phones and focus towards this image. You will see 5 different images, and the 6th one I tried to change the pixel a little bit, but I flunked a little bit. But we have done an image, but we haven't copyrighted the 7th image where we don't have the facial features at all with the pixels. So I don't want to show that image as of now, but these images will be recognized as faces. Okay. And then I thought about, okay, let me do a form of abstraction. So I take a real image, consider the image in the left to be a real image. And then this real image, I started to abstract. Architecture is nothing but austere abstractions, right? So I do some profane abstractions. So the first form of abstraction made me believe that it resembled a few people. And then even more abstraction made me believe that it resembled 1,000 people. And then a million people. And then finally, I resembled at the most basic of abstractions, which resembled every single human being, not giving up on the fact, or they can be divided by genders. So one of the reasons why we are easily able to connect with the smileys that we use, the emoticons which we use for messaging, is they resemble human faces. And we human beings always accept the fact that human faces, we leave traces of the human faces in every single place. For example, a car, a train, a lorry, a switch box, or even a Pepsi Cola can. So let us consider these amoeboidal shapes. So if anybody is not ready with the mobile phones, I would highly recommend you people or request you people to grab a mobile phone from nearby, so that you'll be able to see some of the most amazing achievements that have been accomplished. So I would request you people to grab a mobile phone in the time being. So these are some irregular images, completely irregular images. But the human brain, what it does is, it is not able to see any form of a living organism in this, right? But what is the most abstract version of a human eye? It is a small circle. So what if I take this small abstraction and place it somewhere in those rugged images? What happens at this point of time? You're able to see some, some organisms. Right now, before you didn't see any organisms. Right now, you have some form of a representation of eye and start to, see some organisms, which is really groundbreaking, because a small dot can change the perception by which we view an image. And then what I do is I start the abstraction of human beings and bring it to the most primitive of shapes, and create a picture plane of how a human being a face can be abstracted. So this is when architecture starts to kick in. So starting from this point, we start taking every a building facade, and then we start to draw the features of the facade, and then we start to remix those facades. based as, and we have scalar shifts or even shape transfers that are happening, and we reassemble the same images based upon the shapes that we have got and create a face-like facade with it. So, and this is one of the most interesting buildings which we've did. So this is called Dojo Maximum by Hun Moon. And we rescheduled the various images or the various parts of the facade. And then we remixed them. And we generated some amazing Bugs Bunny kind of a building facade. So this is really, really interesting, I would say. So before in this image, like for example, in the image in the left, you wouldn't have accepted the fact that this can look like a face. But in the image in the right, even your bare eyes is able to accept the fact that this is a face. And then what happens is we try to match the pixel values of every single facade with the human face, trying to make the artificial intelligence accept or read the fact that the building is a face. So this process took us 6 damn months, I would say, 6 damn months. So we keep on remixing and generating our own values, because 300,000 times we had to, sit and calculate every single pixel and try to make it look like a face. So this looks like, I would say this, Anushka Sharma's liposuction made face. So this is how we try to make different faces. And after 69 tries, 68 tries. So there is this proverb called, what doesn't kill you really injures you really bad. So at this point of time, we almost gave up on the project because we tried working on the pixels. But on the 69th try, this was an accomplishment. This was a feat, I would say. So you can take your mobile phones and just zoom towards this small image. I'll give you 10 seconds time, maybe for you or for your mobile phones, for you to access your other mobile phone if you have any. So as soon as you take your mobile phones and zoom towards this, there is a small yellow box that originates outside this building, which means that this building is being read as a human face by a mobile phone, by artificial intelligence. This is a groundbreaking point, I would say. So a face to a building facade, we made someone else believe, like ஒரு குழந்தைக்கு இவர் அப்பாவே இல்லனாலும் we made that believe that this is your dad, something like that. So we made a fool. So this is what we call as architectural hacking. So we used architecture to hack through artificial intelligence. And then what happened was, the millennial in me, I would say, had these questions. So how fun can I make this project? So what I did is I went to Snapchat. And I started doing these, applying these Snapchat filters to it. And Snapchat also uses Viola Jones algorithm. So it's like it started to read this building facade as a face and started to apply filters to it. So at that point of time, I think that I had a month of Snapchat statuses which had these facades. So everybody was like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? And how does a building facade get read as a face? So I was creating something like an art movement, which is completely, unimaginable. And then, so this is the funnier side of the project. So with that being said, I tried to incorporate various factors of a human face into a building facade and then only accomplish this final result. And you would ask me, say, like, facade treat pannirkom. So what, it has been a facade, but what more extreme can we do so that we don't die? We can get hurt badly, but we don't want to die, but we were ready to die even. This pattern, this was another groundbreaking discovery, invention, I would say. So we generated this pattern. Even this pattern gets read as a human face. So I would even say that making a building get read as a face was also not that great of a deal. But this one is such an amazing thing that we did, because it took us seriously a lot of sleepless days and nights to accomplish this. I would say it was, I had to, sacrifice a lot of things in order to make this project, this part of the project possible. And I started to generate a lot of more textures, which was, read by as a face by artificial intelligence. And the thing is, the building which is going to be constructed by this project is not that kind of a great project, because this is going to be a theory-oriented problem seeking and problem solving architectural styles. So this is the facade that we ended up with. A lot of people might not accept that this looks like a facade, but the thing is, this is for the machines. Machines don't know what is beauty, what is an aesthetic. It is all it can do are mathematical calculations. So from an aesthetical or aerial view, the building looks like this. And then at this point of time, we had an amazing groundbreaking news which happened. So with the amount of data that we have given to Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, they started to create artificial intelligence. And this news piece was, the icing on the top of a cake. So Facebook's artificial intelligence robots shut down after they start talking to each other in their own language. Consider this. They were grown, and right now the humans don't have the control of about them, and they are completely free, and we don't know where these artificial intelligence algorithms are and what they are even doing right now. So Facebook shut down the facility as soon as they weren't able to control the patterns of this. So this was the pinnacle, or this was the perfect time for us to release this project. So what we did was we took the architectural building, and so this was definitely going to lead to the rise of AI, definitely. So we took our building design and then we placed it in the middle of housing, in the middle of a housing zone in Amsterdam. So this was something which we tried because a thing which you cannot see. If I say, wait a minute, I'll just select the highlighter right now. So let's consider, this color to be white, right? But you don't know that what are the other colors that are present. But I say that there is a completely new spectrum of colors that your eye is not able to see, and this is called blah blue. So I named something like that, blah blue. So you won't accept the fact that this is blah blue because you won't be able to know that that is the color which is seen because you have not seen that color before. So the AI is not being taught to see a human face at all. So this is how the AI will see this building. It will not be able to see it at all. So this is a building which will be the last resort for the humankind to take a refuge. In case the entire human race is being wiped out, this is where the last bunch of survivors can hide themselves. So they can hide themselves and they cannot be known by artificial intelligence. So this is the proposal that we made with regards to this project. And this is, I would say, is the best project that we have ever worked with. So if at all you are doubtful, you can take your mobile phones and zoom towards this building as well. The mobile phone will read this as a human face. So with that being said, we are completely working on the science fictional side of architecture and what will happen from 100 to 200 years from now. But there will be a rise of AI, maybe in a short span of 100 years from now. I'm saying like, I'm giving AI a long time actually. There will be a short rising, but maybe in a matter of 100 years, there will be definitely a hard rise by the AI. So this is what, as a human, I've tried to generate and design to create the last resort for human beings to hide from the eyes of artificial intelligence.